great discovery of my generation is that a human being can change their life by changing their mental attitude. William James. In a whirlwind world of pressures, calculations, and expectations, we often think that changing our lives requires a miracle, an opportunity, or a guide. But in truth, the key always lies within our minds, in the mental attitude we choose each day. A mental attitude is like light in a dark room. Just a single spark, and all darkness retreats. When we choose to see life with gratitude instead of resentment, with hope instead of fear, even the most ordinary things become precious. Life doesn't change, but the way we see it does, and that is the quiet, profound turning point. A person with a positive attitude sees failure not as an end, but as a comma, a pause to continue their story with resilience and faith. Like a tiny seed in a barren desert, as long as it believes in its own vitality, it will find a way to rise through scorching sand toward the Sunday. If our generation has a discovery to be proud of, it's not technology or material achievements, but an awakening of the soul, that we can transform our lives simply by transforming our mental attitude. And when that happens, the world around us changes too gently, brightly, and full of hope. You are what you do, not what you say you'll do. C.G. Jung. In life, promises or intentions are mere whispers in the wind, if not backed by action. A person is not judged by what they say they'll do, but by the real marks they leave through their actions. Action is like a hand sowing seeds into the earth. Words may be seeds, but if they're not planted or nurtured, they remain forever in the sack. You can say you love, say you'll change, say you'll strive, but only when you act, when you take steps, does the path appear, and others see your true value. Let actions speak louder than words. Let results reflect the soul. Like a river, quietly flowing yet shaping valleys, like the sun shining without boasting, yet illuminating the sky. Persistent, steadfast action defines who you are. This is not just a philosophy of life, but a call to courageously step out of the circle of intentions, to turn I will into I am and I have. Most social behaviors must be understood in context, for they lose meaning when isolated. Solomon Asch. An action, a word, or even a glance only holds meaning when we understand where it comes from fear, joy, pain, or kindness. If taken out of context, we easily rush to judge, quick to label right or wrong, forgetting that humans are a tapestry of circumstances, emotions, and experiences. Like when we see someone silent in a crowd, we might think them cold, but if we knew they had just suffered a loss, we'd see it's not indifference, but an effort to hold themselves together. Understanding context is understanding humanity. Society is like a grand symphony, each person a note. A single note may sound out of place alone, but placed rightly, it weaves into a beautiful melody. So, before judging, pause to listen, to understand, for only then can we touch the true depth of a person's heart. If a person loves only one and is indifferent to all others, their love is not love, but a symbiotic attachment or extended selfishness. Erich Fromm. When someone loves only one while ignoring the world around them, that love is no longer a radiant light, but a smoldering flame in a closed cage, intense yet suffocating. It doesn't nourish the soul. It merely reflects a need to possess, to depend, or to seek security in another. True love doesn't shrink us. It expands the heart, teaching us to empathize, to care for strangers, to see humanity in every living being. When we love truly, We don't close ourselves in two people and a small world. We learn to love beauty and goodness in the vastness of life. Love only holds meaning when it makes us more forgiving, kinder, and more responsible. But if it makes us indifferent, isolated, or selfishly confined, it's not love, it's egoism dressed in the guise of emotion. True love, like the sun, doesn't shine for one alone, but warms the entire world. The goal is to turn a random walk into a pursuit. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Without a goal, life is mere drifting. But once we have something to chase, a dream, an aspiration, or simply the desire to be better than yesterday, everything comes alive. We no longer wander aimlessly. We run with passion and resolve. A goal is the flame that lights the path, the pull that carries us through fatigue, the reason we rise each morning and press on. A person with a goal is no longer a wanderer. They become a hunter of their own future. And in that pursuit, the greatest treasure is not the destination, but the person we become along the way. Remember, life doesn't change when we move, but when we know where we're going. And with a goal, every step becomes a heartbeat of desire. A person who doesn't nurture their dreams will soon grow old. William Shakespeare. Dreams keep our hearts beating vibrantly, our eyes sparkling at the thought of tomorrow. When we stop dreaming, stop hoping, stop believing, tomorrow can be better than today. That's when age creeps into the soul, whether we're 20 or 30. Those who nurture dreams are like gardeners tending flowers in a storm. Though winds blow and rains fall, they believe the seed will bloom. A dream doesn't need to be grand, just enough to give us a reason to wake each morning, to keep going, to love. Time may wrinkle our skin and gray our hair, but only when our hearts grow cold to dreams do we truly age. Hold on to a dream, however small, to remind yourself you're still alive, still young in spirit. If you don't recall a bit of madness that love has led you into, you haven't loved William Shakespeare. For love is not just tender connection, but moments of reckless, fearless abandon. It's the long night you stood in the rain just to see them for a few minutes. It's the letter written in trembling hands, too afraid to send. It's the far journey taken just to catch a glimpse of their smile. That bit of madness is what flavors love, making memories of it a hue that never fades. Those who've loved carry memories, like shards of a broken mirror, sharp yet radiant. Looking back, they're both sad and beautiful, foolish and worthwhile. Without that touch of madness, love is just a song played correctly, but lacking soul. If you've never trembled, never risked, never lost your mind for love, perhaps your heart is still waiting for a flame to truly ignite it. When the wise point to the moon, the fool looks at the finger. When the wise point to the moon, meaning they guide our gaze to the essence, the greater truth, the thing truly worth seeing. But the fool, instead of following the direction, fixates on the finger, a small, fleeting sign that holds no meaning beyond pointing the way. That's how people sometimes lose their way in life. We focus too much on appearances and miss the meaning, dwell on words without grasping the message, obsess over the surface, and lose the value within. The wise see the essence in the ordinary, while the shallow see only the surface of things. Profound advice is mistaken for sarcasm. A kind act is met with suspicion because they don't see the moon, the truth others are pointing toward. Don't stop at the finger. Lift your gaze to the sky, to the moon, to the true meaning behind everything. For those who see the moon don't have sharper eyes, they just know where to look. A friend is someone with whom you can think together. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Such a friend is like a mirror, reflecting your mind not just agreeing to please you, but daring to challenge your thoughts, helping you grow and see life differently. They're the one you can share your deepest worries with, unafraid of judgment. The one you can sit in silence with, yet still feel connected. The one you can dream with, discuss with, and create beautiful ideas together. Such friendship is not just the presence of two people, but the meeting of two minds, two inner worlds, exploring life's depths together. And that makes friendship one of life's rarest, most precious experiences, where you can be yourself, think together, and grow together. No one can know more than their experience allows. John Locke. Someone may speak eloquently, know much, but without lived experience, that knowledge is just theory, a page untouched by life. Only through stumbling, failing, hurting, and rising again do we truly understand what books cannot teach. Experience is life's harshest, yet most honest classroom. Like how you can't grasp the saltiness of the sea, from stories you must touch the waves, feel the briny wind in your hair, to know the sea truly. So too, human understanding is bound by what we've lived through. Don't be ashamed of knowing little. Live, try, fail, and learn from those mistakes. For each experience is a brick laid in the foundation of wisdom, and no one can know more than what they've lived. There is only one God, knowledge, and one demon, ignorance, Socrates. Knowledge is the light that illuminates the corners of the mind. It helps us see the world's true nature, understand ourselves, and rise above the limits of instinct. Knowledge is the God of enlightenment, the torch guiding humanity out of the long night of fear and superstition. In contrast, ignorance is the silent demon. It doesn't need to roar, only to make us stop questioning, stop seeking, and accept things as they seem. Ignorance is not just a lack of knowledge, but complacency in darkness, when we assume we're wise, while our hearts and minds are veiled by unawareness. Between God and demon, there's no clear divide, for we all carry both within us. When we learn, when we open our hearts to understand, we draw closer to the God. But when we reject knowledge, deny reason for comfort or stubbornness, we nurture the demon within. And so, the battle between light and darkness unfolds not far away, but in every thought, every choice we make. Knowledge saves, ignorance destroys, and you alone, decide who wins. Leisure is the mother of philosophy. Thomas Hobbes. For philosophy is not born from dry questions alone, but from curiosity, wonder, and the joy of discovery. Humans only begin to ponder when they have moments of leisure, when they pause, step away from the grind of survival, and ask, why? What is the meaning of life? Who am I in this universe? In those moments of calm, unbound by work or worry, the mind finds space to soar, to play, to imagine. And from that leisure, that gentle, free state philosophy is born as a noble game of the mind. If labor helps us survive, leisure helps us understand why we live. And perhaps philosophy is the spiritual child born when we smile at life and dare to question it. Never take lightly moments of rest, play, or dreaming, for it's then that our souls touch the source of wisdom. We are what we repeatedly do. Thus, excellence is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. No one becomes excellent through a single, brilliant act or fleeting moment of glory. Excellence is forged quietly through small, repeated actions, sometimes mundane, often unseen, but these shape who you are. When we consistently choose to do well, to improve, to persevere, that habit becomes our identity. A truthful person isn't honest from one truth, but from always speaking truth. A strong person isn't brave from overcoming one fear, but from facing fear every day. And an excellent person isn't defined by what they've done, but by what they always do. Habits are the invisible threads weaving our fate. Each repeated choice is a stitch, and over time, the fabric of who you are is woven by the daily acts you perform. If you want to change your life, don't start with ambition, start with habits. Never think you know it all. No matter how much you value yourself, always have the courage to say, I am foolish, Ivan Pavlov. Saying, I am foolish, is not self-deprecation, but the confession of a courageous soul. Those who dare admit their ignorance are opening their hearts to knowledge, to change, and to growth. We've all mistaken self-respect for always being right, but true humility is the highest stance of wisdom. The confident don't fear being wrong, they fear stopping learning. The weak need to prove they're right, while the strong smile when they realize they're wrong. Have the courage to look in the mirror and say, I don't know enough. I still have much to learn. For in that moment, you cease to be foolish. You are someone growing, day by day, with true wisdom, the wisdom of humility. Lawmakers surely need a school of ethics, Simón Bolívar. Laws may be written in words, but justice can only exist through ethics. A society doesn't lack lawmakers, but those who grasp the soul of the law, fairness, compassion, and justice. Lawmakers need a school of ethics. It sounds like sarcasm, but it's a sobering reminder of the responsibility of power. For if power isn't guided by ethics, it becomes a shadow that devours those it should protect. Lawmakers need not only intellect to draft laws, but hearts to understand the people. They don't just write what should be done. They must live as examples of what is right. A law can make people obey, but only ethics can make them respected. Before building a system of laws, we must build a foundation of ethics. For laws shape society, but ethics shape people, and it's people who wield the pen to write the laws. People love to list their troubles. They rarely count their joys. Fyodor Dostoyevsky. Humans have a strange habit they tally every worry, but let joys slip through their hands like fine sand. We often recount what troubles us, but rarely share a sunny morning, a fragrant cup of coffee, or a kind greeting on the street. It seems sorrow has a louder voice than joy, echoing easily in our minds. But if we shift our gaze, we'll see happiness never left. It's quietly waiting for us to notice. Learn to list your joys, like a practice for the soul. Note one good thing each day, no matter how small. For when we start counting happiness, life becomes lighter, and our hearts more grateful than ever. The reward of a good deed is having done it, Seneca. The reward of a good deed isn't praise or recognition. It's the quiet peace in our hearts. When we help someone, when we do right unseen, that silent joy is the most precious gift. A good deed doesn't need a spotlight, for its essence shines brightly in the act itself. Like a flower blooming in an empty garden, it doesn't show off, yet its fragrance graces the world. Doing good is gifting yourself, a pure happiness no material reward can compare. The purpose of life is to be happy. The purpose of life lies not in fame, wealth, or applause. It lies in happiness, that gentle light glowing in our hearts when we smile, give thanks, or love. Happiness doesn't need to be chased. It needs to be recognized. It hides in a warm family meal, a breezy afternoon, or a long hug after a tiring day. Life is fleeting, so don't wait for loss to realize the greatest treasure is to live joyfully, to be yourself. When we learn to be happy with what we have, we touch the deepest purpose of life to live for happiness, not to chase it. Wherever you go, go with all your heart. Wherever you go, go with all your heart, for life doesn't wait for the half-hearted. Every place you pass, every task you undertake, every person you meet is a chance to leave a touch of warmth, a mark of yourself. When you give your all, no matter the outcome, your heart remains at peace, for you've offered the best of yourself. Giving your all isn't just about effort, it's about passion, turning work into joy, challenges into lessons, and each day into a memorable journey. That attitude is the compass guiding you true. So even when your steps grow weary, your heart stays warm and proud. I can resist everything except temptation. Oscar Wilde. For temptation always wears its most alluring guise. A soft invitation, a fleeting glance, or the thought, just this once. Humans stand strong against adversity, steadfast through storms, yet easily sway when their hearts are stirred. Yet perhaps it's this weakness that makes us human, for without temptation, we'd never know how far we can go to hold true to ourselves. Learning to recognize temptation, smile at it, and choose what's right, that's the strength of maturity. A good life is inspired by love and guided by knowledge. Bertrand Russell. A good life is lit by two lamps, love and knowledge. Love is the inspiration that drives us to live, to give, to become better each day. It nurtures kindness, opens the heart, and softens the world around us. But love alone isn't enough, for without knowledge, that flame can burn rather than warm. Knowledge teaches us how to love, how to live rightly, and how to turn emotions into meaningful actions. When the heart leads and the mind guides, life becomes a symphony where passion and reason harmonize, creating the enduring beauty of humanity. We aim higher to reach it. Ralph Waldo Emerson. We aim higher not to prove anything to the world, but to discover our own limits. A lofty goal is like a distant mountain, where the journey to conquer it matters more than the summit. On that path, we stumble, we tire, but through it, we grow stronger, bolder, and more self-aware. For if we only aim for what's within reach, we'll never know how far we could go. A high goal isn't arrogance, it's the future's invitation to courage. And when we dare to aim for greatness, even if we don't fully succeed, we'll stand far higher than if we'd never begun. Knowledge gives you power, but character gives you respect. Bruce Lee. Knowledge is power. It opens doors to the world, reaching for heights beyond. But only character unlocks the door to human hearts. You may use intellect to achieve success, but only through character do you earn the respect and affection of others. Knowledge makes you shine, but character makes that light warm and lasting. For a learned person without morals is like a bright lamp with no wick illuminating, but never warming. In the end, the world won't remember how much you knew, but how kindly and sincerely you lived. Each day brings new strength and new thoughts. Eleanor Roosevelt. Each day is a gift bearing new strength, new thoughts, and new beginnings we've yet to discover. Today, we can be different from yesterday, for time not only fades sorrow, but builds resilience. Each morning we wake, even a bit more patience, courage, or a flicker of hope is a step forward for the soul. Don't fear gloomy days, for even in rain, seeds quietly sprout. Believe that each day brings chances to grow stronger, live deeper, and know yourself better. For today is always a fresh start for a better version of you. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Jimi Hendrix. Knowledge makes us speak to prove, to share, to expand horizons. But wisdom makes us listen, to understand, to connect, to see what words cannot express. In a noisy world of words, those who listen hold the quietest strength. They don't rush to react or argue to win, but to understand people and life more deeply. Knowledge may fill the mind, but only wisdom fills the heart. For sometimes, the silence of the wise holds more value than 1,000 arguments from the half-knowing. The truly wise know when to speak and when to listen.